Record. Welcome to episode two of the Scientist Podcast. And today we have Dr. Vivek Kumar Pandey. And he will tell about his research, his life, and he is currently a fifth year postdoc in University of Kentucky. And he has done research on cancer, diabetes in pregnancy, and currently leading the research in PMR department on spinal cord injury, both in humans and rats. So, sir, please tell us about your life journey. Where are you from, and how did you come here?
Thank you, Abhilash. Thanks for the introduction. Um, so I'm from a district named Basti from UP in India. Most of the people they don't know where this district is. So every time I have to introduce myself, if they know about Basti, either by saying Gorakhpur Basti or Gonda Basti. So that's where I started from. Um, if I recall my childhood education, like the schooling, it was all in a village area where we used to go to study in a small school, I'll say, under the tree. Totally, you can feel like a Gurukul. We used to take our own um, like mat kind of thing to sit over it. There was no benching on it. So in the school, so we have studied like up to eighth in this kind of schools, and then first time I got a bench, proper bench, which I can say a proper bench in high school. So that kind of schooling I got, and then I finished my intermediate uh, from Basti, and then I moved for my graduation to another degree college, which was in Gunda, which is a nearby district, and it was affiliated to Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, Awadh University, Faizabad,
Mm.
so Dr. RML. And after doing my graduation in geology and chemistry, I did my master's in biotechnology, which was like the boom era for that biotechnology.
Yes.
That I did from Brahmanand PG College, which was affiliated to Kanpur University. I must I must tell you that I was the first person who qualified NET JRF from that college.
Oh.
We had a one teacher who was NET LS qualified. Other than that I like did not encounter anyone having NET JRF or any other like DBT JRF. So yeah, I was the first person. I think I after PhD, when I qualified, like after the masters, when I qualified NET JRF, I was doing this project fellow in one of the labs of CSIR, which is Indian Institute of Toxicology Research in Lucknow. But then when I joined, like when I qualified the JRF, I transitioned from project fellow to the JRF to start my PhD. There was a year of struggle between finishing the MSc and then joining the PhD, which we can talk later if this is something which like comes in the area of this talk. And then after finishing my PhD in 2019, I worked as a research scientist at one of the private companies in which is in Navi Mumbai, Acutest Biologics. So there I worked for 1 year as a research scientist in cell biology lab. And from there I came to Kentucky to do my postdoctoral scholar, which you already told in the beginning.
Okay, that
So
was
that was the journey.
yeah, no, that was a very kind introduction, and you explained almost everything. And just listening to all this, there would be hundreds of questions of people that,
Sure,
okay,
I'm happy to.
is it a story from 1950s, or this still happens in India, that many people still go to these kind of schools and they progress to these kind of things. But leaving the child story behind, why science? Like why research and why it is important for you as a person? Like, is it necessary, was it necessary, or you were just looking for 100 things? I was like, okay, let's do science also. Or is it necessary for people to?
So there is not a single answer to this question, what I feel.
Mhm.
Right now, I can say where I am. I do not know anything else other than science, right? So
Okay.
if I see what I can do in next few years or what I should be doing, I think I can only do science. I can do research. I understand the problems at the molecular level. I understand what patients like. Right now, I joined this the physical medicine and rehabilitation center, which deals largely with the patients. So I understand their pain as well. So this is something that is motivating me right now for the research. But yes, when I started, when I was in my master's, I never used to think I'll do PhD. I was probably thinking of settling down somewhere. But then, as I'm telling you, like, so my story might be a little different. We did not have a lot of information, right? I only knew about the jobs in bank. I tried sometimes, I couldn't qualify. I never thought like I can go to IIT, I can do anything in the research, anything in the science. But when I was doing my master's, I met this my lecturer who was net LS qualified, who told us about net exams. And that's how, okay, this is something good. We should appear in the exam, which is like national level. So this will give you some value in your life. Luckily, got qualified. And when I started my work in the lab, so yeah, there was one thing in the masters. Other than this, we had to do like some 3 months of training. With a lot of struggle, we got into one of the CSIR lab for that 3 month training.
Mm.
And when I saw the lab first time in my masters, which is quite unbelievable when you see this, the US system,
Yeah.
people doing a high school and they are in the lab.
Yeah.
I saw first time in masters. So I was amazed. Okay, this is the lab, and CSIR labs are very good in India actually.
Yes.
So, so if you see all the instruments, the process, how they like they find the problem, they try to solve it and try to find a like a rationale for that. So that is something I think motivated to me after my masters, and then PhD of course added into this
Okay.
interest.
Yeah, Mrityunjay is bursting with questions. So Mrityunjay, please.
Yes. So first of all, let me tell you what a phenomenal story, Vivek, right? I think it is so wonderful to know that inspirations like you exist, right? And I think, I mean, I don't want to first go into the science.
Right.
I think what I just wanted to understand one thing.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, obviously you started from a very small place, right? In the context to where you are right now, obviously no place is small. I mean, no school is small, but you started like in today's context, you started from a small place. And then now you are here, you have worked on cancer, you have worked on diabetes, now
Right.
you're working, around spinal cord injuries as well.
Mhm.
Is there a particular moment, right, that, you know, where you felt, okay, yaar, I can do this as well, right? Okay, I can be one of the, I can do good research, right? Is there a particular moment where you felt with joy that, okay, yaar, I mean, this is good, right? I can do this.
I think that's that feeling is at every step, I'll say. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you fail, that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely you feel like I should prove myself that I can do better. So that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get something nice, again you think I should go ahead and do something better.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started my research journey, I was telling in masters for like those 3 months, we just isolated some bacteria, and I was amazed. Okay, there is a bacteria. We isolated plasmid out of it. Now we are injecting into the rat. So like I can do more. This kind of thing. So I kind of started from microbiology.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did research in diabetes during my PhD, and there all the scientific, the small outcomes, the achievements, they always motivate me to do more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how like I went from doing research in the diabetes on the liver problems. Then I started thinking people are suffering more with the cardiovascular problems in diabetes. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
more on the cardiovascular. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
say it's at every step. Either you are failing, either you
Yeah.
are getting something. It motivates to go ahead.
Vivek, I think I also wanted to know a little bit of your perspective
Mhm.
about failure, right?
Right.
What do you think about failure? Do you think it is, I mean, it is important, or do you think a lot of it can also be sometimes really demotivating?
It is demotivating, and it will not like the success will not mean anything if you don't fail, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm setting up an experiment and every time I'm getting good results, that means like something like happening beyond this universe, right? Because we always see this experiment is not working, and then only you think. So your critical thinking develops when you fail, right? So I think failure is important, and the failure that I'm talking here is basically based on the like scientific journey, like scientific experiments that you are doing, and then not about anything like you are failing some exams or something. No,
Hmm.
it's more about the research that I'm talking.
Okay. So talking about the research, one of the important research that you have done, and I've seen that paper, and it's a very rare field, and for India, I don't think anyone does it,
Right.
which is cardiovascular problems in diabetes, but in gestational diabetes. Those who don't know, when any organism is pregnant, normally mammals, when they are pregnant, they can get gestational diabetes, and it's a very understudied field, at least for research in Asia, India at least. Maybe in US some people do it, and maybe in India some people do it. I don't know about it. So, what is that research and why it is important?
That's a good point that you raised in the beginning with your question that nobody does it or very less people are doing it. Even I didn't know when I joined this lab, but
Mm.
we had this project where we wanted to study what happens with the progenies of diabetic mothers when they get diabetes. But on the journey of that study, we also found there is something happening to the mother itself, right? And there are studies you will find like all kind of all the metadata meta studies or the big reviews they do on the clinical sites to find out what is happening with the mothers who gets gestational diabetes when they are pregnant. So, and in India, I have never seen, like, it's my limited knowledge, but I have not seen a lot of people doing this. But what I feel is like most of the people are suffering, like many people are suffering with this kind of problems. They have high blood glucose levels when they are pregnant, but then they forget about it. And what happens in the later stage is none of their concern, right? So what here we did is we studied if someone has a gestational diabetes at every pregnancy, let's say two or more pregnancies, right? Then what happens with their heart, brain, like in terms of aging at the later stages of their life. And the results were, I don't want to say amazing, but it's like I was amazed to see how only having several episodes of gestational diabetes, meaning when every time you are pregnant you have a high blood glucose level, that resulted in the acceleration of aging in those individuals in the organs such as pancreas, heart, brain. So, if we compare the aging markers, such women who had pregnancy with the gestational diabetes had higher chances of getting aging than the normal ones. And at the molecular level, believe me, it shows all the worst kind of results that it will lead to something like dementia or some other kind of like cardiovascular problems, heart attacks, let's say in the general terms. So that will lead like the impairment in the health of that woman who faced gestational diabetes during, like, it's a very short period of time when they are pregnant, their blood glucose is high, but then later life it becomes normal. But we should be careful because this episode of gestational diabetes can lead to this like impairment in the later life.
So when people, suppose in India,
Yeah,
we're talking about, or anywhere, so when they are pregnant and they found that okay, they have a high blood glucose,
right,
but after pregnancy, after 1 year, they say, oh, the blood glucose is normal, nothing's
right,
going to happen to me.
yeah,
But the problems they got when they were pregnant,
right.
that problem still persists. It doesn't matter if it shows in glucose or not. It
It's gonna
persists.
live with them. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's very important, and I'm sure that I don't think there's it's more than two labs that doing these things in India. I'm 100% sure, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think there's any human research on that. I'm pretty sure at all. I'm pretty sure, and that's concerning for the largest population on the earth.
Yeah.
And also
Like we are
concerning for a
becoming
population who
diabetic
has a lot
capital.
of diabetes, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, Vivek, you were saying something. You were trying to
I'm
finish your
saying
thought.
like India is becoming the diabetic capital, right?
Yes.
So we
Hmm.
should be more careful.
It is
Hmm.
already cardiovascular capital
Yeah.
already because there's no data available. That doesn't mean people don't have it.
Yeah. In
People
fact,
have.
when I was doing my CSIR, like PhD in CSIR, we had a program CSIR 800, and
Hmm.
we had to like that program is meant to go to village and do some kind of study, whatever you are doing related to yours. So we
Hmm.
did a kind of a survey where not only the questionnaire based, we took a clinician with me, and we measured the blood glucose level of people who gathered there to listen that talk. And that result was like eye opener for me, because several people who were never like, they were not aware totally what is happening with their blood glucose level, and their blood glucose was more than like 200 300 milligram per deciliter, meaning they were already diabetic and they didn't know. And some of them, like all those like farmer and other like village people, they were like, oh, I feel this, like these are the symptoms that I feel, but I don't know, I never went to doctor. So now what? Like you say, I have a high blood glucose level. What should I do? So there is no information. That's my point. At the village level, from where I am, no information. Nobody cares until they are like at the last stage of diabetes. Because diabetes has a span of at least 10 years, I'll say. You can figure it out like you have a diabetes before like 10 years. But people know when they are already gone, like their organs are gone already due to diabetes
So,
at much
talking
later.
about the organs that you're just talking about, that okay, it affects the pancreas, it affects the heart.
Yeah.
Like, what is more challenging to manage, right? When let's say someone has it, right?
Right.
Like, what has the most, like, the worst impact? Which organ? Do you guys like were you able to also figure that out in your research?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So on diabetes, there is a lot of research actually available.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say it's a problem with multi-organ,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not
So
like I'm not explaining.
I was actually talking about related to your research. The so you published this paper in
Independent diabetology.
diabetology,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was just talking from that point of view, right? So in that
So
research, were
here,
you
yeah.
guys able to figure out like as to which is the organ that is being affected the most?
So diabetes, like what I studied was like
Hmm.
we took some organs which are for sure. In my case,
Hmm.
we knew that they are affected. That
Hmm.
was pancreas,
Hmm.
heart,
Hmm.
brain.
Hmm.
But
Oh,
yeah, but
even
these are,
brain?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if I say like diabetes is like, like systemic organs are suffering due to diabetes,
Hmm.
that will be your liver,
Hmm.
right? All the like muscles can, like, because they are totally dependent on insulin and glucose,
Yeah.
so muscles are gonna be affected. And kidneys.
Hmm.
The only thing is, when you have like someone has diabetes,
Hmm.
not like all the organs are gonna fail today only when
Hmm.
they got detected with diabetes.
Yeah.
It's a slow process.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is, like at the later stage, is it is called neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, is when they get cut in their lower limbs, somewhere in
Hmm.
the foot.
Hmm.
It doesn't heal. Wound healing is a big problem in diabetes,
Hmm.
right? So those are the big challenges that we see, but those are at the later stages of diabetes. It's like now it's not manageable at all.
Hmm. Hmm. And I
But
think most visible thing is that wound thing that you're just talking
yes,
about.
that is the most visible thing. But
But it
at
is
that
at the
point,
most later stage.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
later stage.
Yeah.
So,
I in fact recall some people in my village
Hmm.
who had, I think, dog bite or something in their toe or somewhere in the like lower foot.
Hmm.
And due to that operation, like it was not healing. He had to go for the amputation, and he died because of that. But at that point, I didn't know it's because of diabetes. He
so
was like
it's
his
it's
weight was,
very
I think,
common in my town. People having diabetes and having their leg amputation. It's very common.
now when I do research, I understand what was the problem there. Nobody knew.
It's neuropathy.
But aren't there any like indicators, like, or is it very invisible to like anyone? Or
Initially, it's not visible initially. You have to go for your daily routine, like annual checkups, whatever you can afford. You have to keep track of your blood glucose levels.
hmm.
It's a very dramatic disease, I'll say. People are behind cancer, behind everything else, but
Hmm.
diabetes is a very dramatic disease. If someone has a pre-diabetic conditions,
Hmm.
which means when they are about to develop diabetes,
Hmm.
you'll see for some years, 2 3 years, maybe 5 years, 10 years, someday your blood glucose will be high,
Hmm.
which will come under diabetic conditions.
Hmm.
Maybe in the same month, next month, or you'll see like normal blood glucose, or
Hmm.
sometimes they can feel hypoglycemia, like low blood glucose.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this will keep fluctuating for years.
Oh, wow.
You're saying diabetes has mood swings.
Yeah, diabetes has mood swings, and sometimes the blood glucose level will be either like more than normal and less than the diabetic conditions, which is basically the pre-diabetic conditions.
Oh,
At
wow.
that point, people say, "Oh, maybe I have eaten something. Maybe that's why it is,
Yeah,
high."
yeah.
That's why I always say we have to keep track of our blood glucose level monthly, like once in a 2 month, quarterly, whatever people can afford. And it's a very cheap. Like devices are now cheap. If they
Mm-hmm.
know a little bit, they can bring in at home and prick their fingers and just test.
Because
And
what your research is saying is that yes, diabetes is going to have like problems of blood glucose or like blood
yeah,
pressure, right?
yeah,
But at the end of the day, it is also there is a big chance, there is a possibility that it is going to affect your heart, your
yeah.
pancreas, and your brain as well,
Right.
right? Oh wow,
Yeah.
this is interesting as well as very scary,
Yeah.
especially for someone who doesn't, who's not a biologist or who doesn't understand science. Like I understand science, but I don't understand biology as much as I want to. Very interesting. So, yeah, Abhilash, yeah.
Yeah. So now, Vivek, now I know that you are thinking of using this knowledge and applying to patient who has spinal cord injury.
Right.
So if a healthy person has a spinal cord injury and a patient who has been to diabetic or diabetic related any problems, those
Right.
have spinal cord injury, and
Right.
you'll be working translationally either with humans and rats.
Right.
So why this field is as important as any other field? Because even in India, every day there are thousands of accidents, and all of them has either one grandma or grandpa who slipped
Right.
in the washroom and they have their
Yeah.
back broken. So do you think this should be the new focus at least?
Yeah. So you rightly said this is most ignored problem in India.
Yes.
I only came to know here when I came here. I came to know like we can do research on this field
Yes,
with
I
these
didn't know.
people, right?
I didn't know. Yeah.
And we have a whole center at UKY, like spinal
Yeah.
cord injury related. But this is called like more US problem. But no, we have more accidents. We have like all bathroom slips,
My
sport injury.
nana, dadi both
Yeah,
slipped and broke
yeah,
the
yeah.
back.
So if
Also,
you
I
take,
think like in our population, we don't have the concept of staying fit, right? So the possibility of someone getting, having a slip disc or someone having a spinal
And
cord injury is
we don't
also
have any road sense, driving sense. We don't have many
absolutely,
sense.
we have
absolutely.
a broad spectrum, I'll say. Some
Yeah,
some people have, some
yeah,
don't,
yeah,
some they
No, no,
don't care.
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, so the big thing here I'm gonna say is yes, spinal cord injury with the patients. So the problem is if a normal person is having spinal cord injury,
Hmm,
depends upon at what level they got,
hmm,
that affects their like physiology. So
hmm,
if they are at the middle, like somewhere in the middle of their backbone, they might lose their mobility. Of course, they will lose their mobility. So it depends upon several things. That
hmm,
is aside. The problem is if spinal cord is injured, the problem cannot, or the patient cannot move, or the
hmm,
person cannot move, right?
hmm,
But person eats,
hmm,
not moving, is eating.
hmm,
He or she. So this leads to the weight gain, right? Inactivity also leads to the insulin resistance. So they have chances of having obesity and diabetes related problems. Now to the question where diabetic patients or the older age patients, they are getting like spinal cord injury. Of course, their problem is like much more messier than the normal one,
hmm,
but they are also going to be in the bed. So the care cost is going to increase. The trouble with the like within the household, like all people who are taking care, their
hmm,
problem is going to increase. The interesting thing what we found here is that like in my current lab, we are using one device, electrical stimulator, which is like you can patch it over the skin somewhere and stimulate nerves below and above the injury. And some like preliminary research they show that it reduces the blood glucose and all the diabetic parameters
Yeah.
drastically. Like
Okay.
recently I saw this month some publication came where they stimulated the vagus nerve and the cervical nerves, and the blood glucose level was reduced from 250, somewhere around 250 to 120, which is like normal after 90 days of stimulations.
Oh.
So I see a like huge potential in this thing.
Hmm.
Even if person is not a spinal cord injury patient, but using that device, if we can reduce the blood glucose level, if we can reduce their HbA1c to bring to the normal level, which is glycated hemoglobin, which tells about like 90 days of high blood glucose, and this is gonna be kind of a insulin pump which people wear and then keeps injecting insulin, but it does not actually inject anything. It just transmits the like stimulations, like through the electrical stimulations. So that's gonna be a good I'll say therapeutic thing coming to the market if it is successful, and we are trying to recruit some patients. We'll do studies
Hmm.
both in the rats and in the patients. We'll
That's
see.
cool. That's cool. And I think we have already taken your 21 minutes.
Hmm.
But Tunjay, do you have any final thoughts, question? Do you want to say something? Yeah.
No, I mean, to be honest, like very inspired by Vivek's journey. And I think what's also important is to obviously, we do talk about different types of disease. And I personally I didn't know that. So I knew that diabetes is a problem in India, but I didn't know that it can be such an invisible, disaster. And having such a great big population in India, and not just India, like across the world, I feel, right, it's invisible and it's very difficult to manage. And now I think, Vivek, like people like you who are working in this particular field and trying to figure out as to how to manage it, I think that's commendable. I think that would be it. But great work.
Thank you.
Please do share your research, this second research as well, about the device that you are talking. What we can do is we can also like share it, further ahead. We'll be putting it
That-
online,
It's
this
an
discussion.
ongoing study. When we complete it, we will sure will.
Sure, sure, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, thank you.
this was totally fantastic, and obviously, we learned too many things, and also when we'll put it, even if 5 people and 10 people can understand more, that will be really really amazing. And I think we are frozen. Uh, oh, okay.
You see, if you have a fever, you know you have a symptom, clear
Yeah,
symptom, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But with this disease, you don't have a symptom for a long time
yeah,
until you check your blood
yeah,
glucose level.
yeah.
So that's a big problem, because some people they don't care. Like, you know,
Yeah, like I think this is
I
like
don't
not
feel
even.
anything. What happens if my blood glucose is high? I don't feel anything.
Yeah, yeah,
That's somewhere like people are lacking the information, and that's making it worse.
yeah,
Uh, One thing, sorry, my Zoom suddenly internet gone.
Yeah.
One thing, suppose someone is from Basti, and someone from Basti is gonna see it. So I know
I
the
hope.
language of Basti is Bhojpuri.
No, it's Sawadhi.
It's Avadhi. My bad. It's Avadhi. So
Maybe Bhojpuri starts from like after Basti, somewhere.
yes, yes.
Maybe.
Going east from Basti. Okay,
Sure.
so you wanna tell anyone in Avadhi, why do you need to go into science? Why do you need to study well? And please follow our channel.
Cool. So that's something I need to say in Avadhi, right?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
तो भैया डायबिटीज को खत्म करने के जिम्मा हम उठाए हैं। यही
Hmm.
नाते रिसर्च करीत बा।
Ah.
आपो सब पढ़ाई लिखाई करो
Hmm.
और थोड़ा क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की तरफ जाओ कि क्या हो रहा है हमारी तरफ,
Hmm.
हमने सबके शरीर में
Hmm.
तरफ ध्यान रखो, और रिसर्च का फायदा उठाओ, लोगों को शिक्षित करो, और अभिलाष जी और मृत्युंजय जी के चैनल का सब्सक्राइब करो।
Thank you so Yeah, thank you so much. This was incredible.
Thank you.
And we will talk again, obviously. Obviously, we'll talk about
Obviously.
and I hope your experience was absolutely I think your experience was okay with us. So thank you so
Well,
much.
we'll
Okay.
leave